Hello everyone and welcome back to Animation Pilgrimage, the show where Tennille and I take a look at every single theatrically released animated film in chronological order. I'm Whitney.
I'm Tennille.
And today we took a look at Time Masters from 1982. This was from France, West Germany, Switzerland, United Kingdom, and Hungary.
Yeah.
Possibly other bits in there, but those are the main bits.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness, this was an interesting film.
Yeah, interesting is a great way to describe it. It's a sci-fi film, kind of in the same vein as Fantastic Planet. It's actually got the same director. And we should probably start this episode off by saying that you definitely said the wrong person last time.
Yeah, okay. I don't know where I got the Image Entertainment.
I'm not sure either.
I genuinely don't know, but yeah. Gene-Image has absolutely nothing to do with this, but Pannonia did.
Yes, Pannonia did the bulk of the production work for this film, but this was directed by René Lau. So, I'm assuming that's how you say it, but it's the same director who directed Fantastic Planet. And you can definitely tell because it's got those vibes.
Yeah, it definitely had that feeling.
Uh-huh. It does have a different, designer. Yes, designer is the word I'm looking for. The designer for this film did all, the art direction, was the basis of what the artist took to make the movie look like, was based off of the work of Jean Garand. And I might be saying his name incorrectly here, but very famous artist, worked on Blueberry, which I'm not... The Wikipedia page for this series was absolutely ginormous, but I've never heard of it. It's some, cowboy series comic? I don't know.
Sure.
But Blueberry, I do more so recognize his work on other films. So he would be, the art director for Tron and Alien... and Fifth Element.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. So, that has a very specific sci-fi look that I definitely see the influence of here, but I really do think that the director's touch kind of comes through more. That might be my bias as an animation person, but, I definitely saw the Fantastic Planet influences while watching this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, how about a plot synopsis? Because this is a weird one.
Yeah, this is a weird one. I'm going to go ahead and say that before we get into the synopsis, if something like this interests you at all, probably just go ahead and watch it for yourself, because we'll be spoiling what happens.
And there's a bit of a twist ending.
Yeah, there's a bit of a twist, so go ahead, Whitney.
All right, so there's a boy named Piel, or something to that extent, and his family is attacked and killed on a planet, and he is left there by himself, but he has essentially a space walkie-talkie to talk to other people. And the people he's talking to is some dude who owns a spaceship, and with him he has an ostracized prince, and I think his sister?
And the prince's sister.
Yeah, so the prince and the princess. Nobody cares about the princess, though.
Right, she's not referred to as a princess or anything. She's just the prince's sister, which is kind of weird, but okay.
Mm-hmm. So the prince is wanted because, he's heir to this country that's been overthrown or something, or he is not eloped, but run away from the country. It's weird that he's wanted. He has a whole pile of jewels and stuff.
I think maybe he's wanted for multiple things, but one of those things is also that he took half the treasury of his country with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the pilot of the ship is transporting them to another planet to he was paid to take them away.
Right.
But he actually has the other end of the walkie-talkie, and he hears the distress signal about this kid who's left alone on this planet.
Right. And so they're like, oh, we got to do something to help this kid.
Yeah, we're going to help this kid. And the prince is not happy about that. And the pilot's like, whatever, you need to get to a different planet. It doesn't matter where you go. So we're going to go help this kid. It's going to take like a month, but whatever, we're going to do it. Mm-hmm. So the first stop they do is they stop on a planet with an old man who's friends with the pilot. He's just this cheery old grandpa-like fella.
Yeah.
And he actually has some information about the planet that the kid is stranded on because he's actually gone through a similar experience in his past.
Right.
So he is able to help give useful information to the kid, like, oh yeah, there's like a lake around there, and you can eat these fruits, but not those, and don't go in the caves because it's dangerous, and stuff like that.
Right.
And
you gotta watch out for like the brain-sucking hornets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some bad stuff. So the ship picks up the old guy, and also a couple of two little gremlin creatures that are psychic and can read people's thoughts.
Yeah, these are the best characters in the movie.
Oh, absolutely. Like, they just kind of wax philosophical about the human nature most of the time that they're on screen.
Right, because they're telepathic. So they can read human thought. But don't necessarily experience it the same way themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But, like,
their animation is great. Their art style is like their design is great. They're just really enjoyable, simple characters.
Because as you can probably tell at this point, most of the film is rotoscoped. And it has kind of like that similar stilted style that Fantastic Planet had. And I will say that for this movie, I don't think it works as well. Mm-hmm. I think the rotoscope ends up holding it back rather than pushing it forward, because this is a lot more of a like character-driven drama.
Yeah, and a lot of the times the characters are just kind of sitting there.
The emoting.
Very still, yeah.
The emoting doesn't come across the way it should.
Yeah. So a lot of this movie is just kind of split into two halves, and it keeps bouncing back between the two. Is the kid is alone on this island, and he has small...
Planet.
Did I say island?
Yeah.
The planet, yeah. And it's just kind of him eating fruit or talking to people on the radio. He finds some friends. They get eaten by a thing in a cave. Stuff like that. He's kind of just alone and does his own thing. He's got some adventures there. Mm-hmm. But on the other end, where most of the action happens, is the crew of the ship going to get to this kid, because it's going to take them like a month to get there or something.
It takes them a long time. There's a lot of stops along the way.
Yeah, it's like they have to wait for this specific comet to come by so they can like ride its slipstream or whatever to get there, and it's expedited. Whatever.
I will say the old man is also a great character because he's also not really rotoscoped as much.
Yeah, he's more cartoony than the other characters.
Yeah, he like sings the kid a song about drinking. And it's really fun. In general, the old man's planet is interesting because it's got like the design is just cool. The atmosphere is cool. That's another thing that's neat about this film is like the settings.
Yeah.
When we're not just on the spaceship.
Mm-hmm. So on the spaceship, the prince is still pissed that they're going to save this kid. So he tells the kid to go out into the middle of the lake and like lies to him. It's like, oh no, you'll float. You'll be fine. He's trying to drown the kid.
Yeah,
because he doesn't want to go save this kid. His sister finds out, and he gets locked in... The prince gets locked in his cabin. But the gremlins are like, I can't stand this guy's awful, terrible, evil thoughts. So they help him get the transport and leave. And he goes to the local planet to get away from the ship.
They also punish the prince by throwing all of his treasure out into space.
Yeah, they toss all the money.
Yeah.
Anyways, they're like, well, we can't just let him run off like that onto this unknown planet. So the pilot follows him, and they both get captured by these white, faceless angel people.
This part of the movie is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the angel people are all actually these puppets orchestrated by, like, I don't know, the hive mind of the planet.
Yeah, there's like a hive mind that's like, difference is wrong and conformity is everything, so it changes people that are on the planet or come to the planet, so they all look the exact same and they're all just being controlled by this one thing.
Right.
And the little gnomes are like, hey, you can destroy this if you defy homogeny and believe in the self and just are pure anger and hate and vitriol towards conforming.
Right.
And while
as the hive monster mind thing eats you,
eats you, you can just destroy it. Obviously, you'll die, but you can destroy it that way. Mm-hmm. So the prince is like, "Yeah, I'll do that. I kind of hate everything, anyways."
Right.
So
I really don't want to go fucking save the kid.
Yeah. So he jumps in.
I'd
rather die. So he dies, but it also frees all of the other people that were angelified.
Right.
So the pilot escapes with like 30 other guys.
I think they mentioned there's like 30 extra people on the ship now.
Mm-hmm. So wasn't able to save everyone because there's like an entire like civilization of these angel people.
Right.
But saves a number of them.
Yeah. There is a really nice line with the sister then when the pilot gets back. The pilot's like, oh, I should tell you about your brother. And she says something along the lines of like, I don't want to know because however he died, I imagine that's how he should have lived.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a good line. That's really good. In general, I really like this section of the movie because I feel like it's a section of the movie with the most to say. There's the most symbolism here, and like you can tell the author's like hatred for like conformity, and it has a very like Christian vibe to it
because
too.
They're all like angelic creatures. Yeah,
with
I was
no faces.
Oh,
it's
absolutely
like,
getting the idea of just like the religious mass of don't question and don't be different.
Right, which would be like a very typical sci-fi kind of sentiment, I think. So, especially when this book, it's based on a book, spoilers.
Who could have seen that coming?
The book was written in 1958.
Okay.
So, like, that's a very fitting time period for this kind of message. It's a little on the nose, but it's cool. It's neat. I like it.
So the next section of the movie is there's some sort of army that shows up looking for the prince, and they're all very Nazi.
Yeah.
Like, they do the salutes and stuff. But they're the army.
The army.
They got M's on them, but they got like black and red and whatever. And the pilot's like, yeah, totally. The prince got killed by these pirate dudes or whatever. And that totally sucks. And he lost the treasure. We don't have any of that. And they're like, well, or like, we have the treasure. Yeah, totally. We have the treasure.
Right.
So they let them take the treasure. And the pirates, a.k.a. the people that were just freed from the angel thing, but the treasure was actually a shape-shifting guy.
A shape-shifting alien that they rescued from the angel planet.
Yeah. So they're like, yeah, totally take him. And they're like, the plan is those guys are going to take over that ship.
Right. With
the help of the shape-shifting guy being able to do whatever the hell they need to take over the ship. And then we leave them and we never see them again.
Yeah, I feel
they
like...
They joke that it's probably going to take them about 2 hours to take over the ship.
They're very confident that these guys are... That, like...
This hodgepodge group is
going to be able to take
over
down
this
the military ship
from the inside.
Yeah. I have doubts.
Either way, they're gone. Doesn't matter.
Uh-huh.
And then they get close. They're finally almost to the planet where the kid is, and the kid is actively being attacked by, like, brain hornets or something. Mm-hmm. Which is awful.
I think these are the creatures they mention at the beginning.
That
attacked
his family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the idea there. Mm-hmm. Suddenly, as they're approaching the planet, things get weird, and everything's going in reverse. Like, time is going backwards or something, and light is going backwards.
The frequencies are going backwards, which makes everybody in the spaceship pass out
and or almost die. And then they're picked up by a group known as the Time Masters, and they're going into a restricted zone around this planet. And they're all helped and they're all fine, except for the old guy. The old guy is actively dying.
Yeah.
And then the little mind gremlins are like, we'll show you his past so you know what's going on.
Because he's dying, he's unlocking memories of his past, so we're going to telepathically show you that.
Yes.
So we go into the old man's mind.
And wouldn't you know it, it's the child from the planet.
Yeah.
Because the Time Masters were colonizing planets by literally sending the planets into the past. They don't really explain this part too well, so just go with me here. They send planets into the past. In this case, they sent this planet 60 years in the past. And then a random guy shows up on the planet and saves the kid from these hornets.
Well, what I actually think was kind of fun and interesting here is that it acknowledges that in order to travel back in time, you would have to travel back through time and space.
Yeah, because the planet just kind of pops into, like, right on top of this guy's ship. And he's like, why is there a planet here, robot in the ship? And it's like, I don't know, the planet just appeared here. And he's like, I don't believe you. You're just getting old, you stupid ship.
That sounds like bullshit.
Yeah.
Anyway, I saved this child.
Yeah, so he saves the kid, and then the kid grows up and becomes like he does a bunch of fun space things and eventually ends up on the planet where he's picked up by the main guy, the pilot.
He's the old man.
Because he's the old man, and he does die. Mm-hmm. So, in a way, they save the kid, but also don't. You know?
Yeah.
It's very weird because he was teleported back in time and saved by somebody else, and then he goes on an adventure at the end of his life to save himself. Which
kills him.
Yeah, which kills him. And that adventure, and that's why he knew all of the things about being stranded on that planet, because he was the kid. He's literally just half remembering how to save this kid because it literally happened to him and he's saving himself.
Yeah.
And that which kills himself. It's a time paradox loop.
It's a very 1950s sci-fi twist.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
And you only get to see one Time Master, which is this glowing green, I don't know, anteater looking thing.
Yeah. Yeah. The story does kind of lose me here when it says what the twist is. And it does have some segments, because of the very stilted acting and everything like that it's kind of boring to get through.
Yeah.
Overall, I say that, Fantastic Planet is a much more complete package in its atmosphere and oddball characterization and just like weird sci-fi almost horror feelings that it gives you. Mm-hmm. And this one just doesn't stick the landing as well, but it's still a really interesting film.
Absolutely. I would say check it out if you get the chance. Mm-hmm. There is a the original French version. There's also an English dub. We watched the French version because that's the original language.
Right, and we always do that when we can.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, neat.
Check this one out if you like old sci-fi. It's charmingly old sci-fi, but it is indeed very old sci-fi.
All right, so join us back here next time as we watch a Czechoslovakian film. We're watching Adventures of Robinson Crusoe, a sailor from York. It's stop motion.
We recently had a Robinson Crusoe.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so we'll see how we feel about this one.
Anything's better than that one, right?
Probably. See
you then.
Sört iszik és kevertet, gyorsan fogy a kis sosó, hideg van és hullahó, azt mondom rá se ráncs, ha esik, hadd essen, hajnalig